Life FM, good morning. It's Bec and Liam for breakfast. How you going?
On this beautiful Wednesday, hey, 9 minutes past 8 it is, and we have a very special guest in the studio. Well, Bec, how did we even come about this?
So let me tell you a story. I was sitting there in executive meeting last week, okay, and our boss, our big CEO, David Turrell, comes in and goes, I have a video to play first. Everyone was on video. Lights off, please. And he goes, this has been sent to me. And we're all just like, oh, I'm sorry, David, if you're listening. But like, I think internally some of us were like, oh no, here we go.
When the boss goes, I have a video to show you, with no context, you're expecting maybe a slightly boring video, maybe, something HR related or policy related, but this was not.
Oh, I was shooketh. As soon as it started, I'm like, oh my word, okay, no, we are watching like a full-blown testimony, and saw this incredible young woman on stage at church giving her testimony, and I was wrapped. I can't even tell you how long it went for, because it was one of those things that you watch and you just have time stops, because you're so into it and you're so focused on what they're saying, and you're just hearing this incredible story that it stops. You're like, wait, I want more.
Yeah.
But then what happened? What next?
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So welcome, Abbey, to the show here on Life FM. And yes, last week at Easter, you gave your testimony at your church. Shout out to Life Church in Modbury. But please tell us and tell the world your story, your testimony, your salvation.
Yeah, thank you, Bec and Liam, for having me on. So my whole life changed at Easter 2 years ago when I came back to church for the first time. I grew up in a Christian home growing up. But when I turned 18, I moved out really young and I got into the wrong scene, and I tasted alcohol for the first time, and this led me into a 10-year alcohol addiction. And it completely ruled my life. It was I thought about it 24/7. My whole day was planned around it. It was all-consuming hell on earth. So it started off drinking just on the weekends, and then fast forward only 5 years, I'm now drinking every single day. I can't really picture my life without it.
That would have been exhausting.
Yeah.
It was exhausting, and just like dealing with the hangovers, and then like just to keep up with it, and just now I had to hide it as well, because I didn't want anyone, I was so ashamed, I didn't want anyone to find out about it. So I just did all my drinking in the car and in secret. And like hiding it, I was so creative at hiding it. So then fast forward, now we're nearly 10 years down the track, and I'm drinking first thing when I wake up in the morning. I have to keep going all day to stop the withdrawals from kicking in, and I've dug myself into this hole I know 100% I cannot get out of, and I thought there was only one way out, which wasn't going to be good for me. But I really didn't want to die. So I went to the doctor, and she looked at my blood tests, and she basically, because I always would lie about my drinking. You know how the doctor's like, oh, how much do you drink? Oh, a glass of wine here and there.
And they're looking at things and they're like,
Yeah, she's like, your liver is completely shot. And you have two options, which is to die an early death or to get help. So I went in 2023 trying to do it in my own strength. So I went to AA every day. I tried everything. I did therapy, psychology, the TED Talks, the podcast, like you name it, I tried it. I just couldn't kick this thing, because it was like I would get sober and then relapse, and then sober and relapse. And it got me into this really destructive path of actually getting worse when I was relapsing. So then we went to 2024. This is when the story kind of changes. So I get into my car one day, and I have this really mapped out routine, because I'm such a high functioning alcoholic, of driving to work early, parking my car there, and then drinking a lot in the car before I go in, and then, topping up a water bottle or something. And this morning when I turned my car on, the radio had changed from like a Nova channel to Life FM.
Wow.
So for me, I knew this, I have an older car where you have to actually press the button. There's no way the radio...
There's no presets.
Nah.
There's no way this radio could have changed.
Wow.
And
They just switch over,
It was impossible. And that struck a chord in me. I'm like, I think God's trying to tell me something.
Wow.
Oh man, I want to know all about God's story. If we can just go into a really inspiring song, because we were asking you earlier when you first arrived, like what kind of music has really helped you through this, especially in the most recent couple of years, and you definitely responded to this Taya track. Before we get into that, I just want to I just want to ask one question. When you were hiding this, because I can't imagine anything so exhausting and so soul crushing as hiding something and basically almost being a slave to it, and just that is your life. It's just a vicious cycle every day. Did anyone notice anything, or do you worked so hard to hide it, but was there any signs anywhere that people were like, what's going on here?
Yeah, totally. By the end, because it's such a progressive disease, by the end, like my dad would find me like drunk in the morning, and he's like, what is happening? Like, because I never saw him that often. So when he found me like that, he was like, what is happening? And then I had to confess, because that's obviously not normal. That's not normal behavior. And then it all came out, and that's when actually the shame was put so heavily on me, because all my family knew. Like, the fact that it was out, I just wanted to crawl into a hole and hide. Like, the fact that I'm even sharing this on the radio today is just a testament to Jesus Christ. That
absolutely.
I have absolutely no shame.
Yeah.
And like, he's healed me. He's washed me white as snow. And I just give him all the glory. Like, I've got no shame now. I'll tell the world what he's done.
Absolutely. It is
we want to
so
tell the
incredible.
whole world next,
Hey, we're going to listen to Taya Come Into the Light, but after that, don't go anywhere. We're going to keep Abby in the studio hearing more of her story and what God has done in her life.
From the moment that she switched on her car and Life FM was on the channel. We are right in the middle of hearing an incredible testimony from Abby here in the studio.
Yeah, we've got Abby with us. And look, Abby, last week at Easter at your church, Life Church, you shared your testimony of radical salvation, transformation that can only be brought by the power of Jesus into your life. And there was one other thing that you mentioned as part of your testimony. One morning you got into your car and somehow your radio had switched from another station to Life FM.
I know, this was wild, because my radio can't change by itself. So when I turned the car on and it changed to Life FM, and I actually tried changing it back and I couldn't change it back.
I love it. Abby's sitting there. She spent 10 years living as an alcoholic in secret, hiding it from your family, hiding it from your friends. You've walked away from your, you've walked from your faith. You're living your own life. I can't even imagine the exhaustion. Your doctor is saying, Abby, what are you doing? And you get in the car, and I just, can we just go back to, you got in the car that morning, and you even had, like, you were there early to work to have a drink. Like, this is, I just need everyone to realize what was going on in your life that morning. And this was such a vicious cycle for me. Like, I did it every day, but this was an interruption in the cycle, and thank goodness I could not change the radio, because I was listening to scripture and to worship music. It was for 2 weeks before I went back to church, and it was really touching me. And I remember, driving, and I was crying, but I couldn't really put my finger on why I was crying. And I felt this pull to go back to church, and it was Easter time, so I'm like, everyone goes to church on Easter. So I just thought, you could just sneak in.
Sneak in. No one's going to know I'm there. I'll sit up the back. I had nothing to lose at this point. So I went to this Easter service at Futures Paradise and sat up the back. And again, it was doing something to me. And I was like, oh, I think I'm going to go back again. So it was the 14th of April, 2024. I went back for a second time. I was totally like mesmerized by the presence of God. I was bawling my eyes out, and they did an altar call, and they said, like, step out of your seat if you want prayer. And because I was so crippled with anxiety and like, obviously like withdrawals, everything, it took every last bit of strength and like faith for me to like step out. And I did, and I got prayed for that day. I walked out of that church completely changed. Like, I never touched, never drank, never craved alcohol again from that day. Like, it was a supernatural lift. And I didn't really realize, like, I was healed until I moved places, and I moved to another house, and I opened the cupboard. And because the last place I was living in, I had no alcohol in the house, otherwise I'd drink it. So I moved into this new place, and I opened the cupboard, and in the pantry there was all this alcohol. And I was like, I didn't want it but not even an inch of me wanted it. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm healed. Like, that's crazy. And then another story of like, when he not only healed my disease, but he healed me from internally, like all my wounds and my past trauma. I couldn't ever look at a baby photo of me because I was so ashamed, and like it just brought so much pain of like that I'm not that person anymore. So then when God had actually restored me internally, I remember looking at a baby photo of me and I felt like the same person. I was like, I'm her and she's me, and God has restored my innocence and my purity. And like, I just had never felt like this before. And what I had found in Jesus Christ, I could never find in the world. I could never find in a partner, in alcohol, in my career. Like, he had healed something inside of me that changed me, and I just lacked nothing. Like, even if I never got anything else in this world, I would still be so complete. But he's gone above and beyond. Like, he's changed my life. He's given me a career that I never would have been able to do. Like, it's changed my life, literally. He's given me a boyfriend I never would have been able to get. Like, it's just insane. Like, he's changed every single part of my life, and he's gone above and beyond. And I pinch myself every morning when I wake up. I'm like, is this real? Like, I can't believe it.
It's absolutely incredible. And look, you've answered part of my question, what I was going to ask, but I was going to ask, what is life like now since that Easter Sunday, that time where you came back to Jesus? Because alcoholism, it doesn't just affect you as the person, not at all to take away from your story, but I've seen this in my immediate family of nearly a decade of an alcohol addiction. It affects the family, your closest relationships, trust gets broken, and like you said, you hide it, and you know, lying comes into it, and all this stuff comes into play. But what's it all like now for you and your family, and you know, what's different?
Yeah, great question, because it's completely different. I was a professional liar. Like, I fractured all my relationships. I wasn't getting invited to things anymore. Like, I really, like, as much as my family wanted to help me, I was very much distanced because they felt like they couldn't help me, because, you know, with alcoholism, it's just really hard because you can help them as much as you want, but unless they do it for themselves, you can't really, like, there's only so much you can do. So then, we went on a family holiday actually, like, end of last year, and my little sister was in the car with us, and they were all saying like, oh, it's amazing how you found Jesus, blah, blah. And she was just like, we never would have invited you if you hadn't met Jesus. And I was like, I know, that's classic little sister comment. I was like, thank you so much. Like, she could really see the change. Like, this wasn't just like a fad. This was full transformation of my mind, my soul, the way I act, the way I speak. Like, he completely flipped everything about my thinking as well. And I was just telling someone this last night, because I have a 3-year journal where I like write down paragraphs, and I can see what I was thinking in my journal from 3 years ago when I was still in active addiction to now when I'm writing it down 3 paragraphs later. Like, the transformation of 3 years of what Jesus did to like my whole entire being is mind-blowing. And it, in such a short time, that's what blows my mind as well. It's just hit 2 years yesterday that this all went down, and it's completely changed the trajectory of my life.
He's real. He's powerful.
The Holy Spirit working through you and you sharing the story. It's just so incredible. I don't know if I'm like got very emotional. I'm not crying. Thank you so much for sharing that, because just if we can selfishly just say a word, like, Abby, this is why this station exists. This is why Life FM is here. It's not to just be like, oh, radio station. It's actually, no, seriously, it's actually just to play the right music at the right time, the right words, whatever can just go out there to hit someone sitting in their car, going through the worst moments of their life, and just hit them, change them, and God is there. God is reminding them that you are so, so loved. So, oh gosh.
Abby,
so
thank you so much for joining us this morning, for sharing your testimony. This will go up on the website at mylifefm.com if you want to share it around. Again, Abby, thank you for your time today.
Thanks, guys.